Hey everybody, Everett's live music coming to you on the 15th day of October. Halfway through October 2023. Came off of that Indigenous Day just a little bit ago, and how that's maybe Columbus Day. However you perceive things. Those are some of the times though too, man, where you're going to think of like Halloween and stuff. I tell my kid, tell her that's real Halloween. Some of the times that have come and gone and different things, but we're moving into election season, so. And I know Halloween's coming too, and you don't want to be, but it's almost like the real, that's the real Halloween almost, man, to one degree or another. Who we going to vote for? How many, is one guy going to be able to look better than the other guy? Are you going to make more promises or make the other guy look worse? Or try to stay focused. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world right now that has nothing to do with us. And they're going to maybe try to use that against the candidates. And for the candidates, I guess, To me, it's kind of weird. I enjoy the idea of the process, right? And what was originally drawn up on paper. Some of our forefathers, the good idea when times were so much simpler and so much has changed. Realizing for one degree or another we have to change as well, but to find fundamentals and a foundation that was written one time and try to find a way back to that through truth and building trust and honesty and finding someone who realizes when you say the earth doesn't need people. People need the earth. It does not mean anything less than that. That's your whole objective. But I do realize at times, and I'm not a politician, or do I get further, I don't involve myself heavily in any of it, but I try to vote. Sometimes I don't, and sometimes I do. Quite often I do, just like I pay my taxes and everything. But you can't dismiss somebody that realizes that, and we eventually are going to have to start looking at money being the source of so many of the problems. I know it's not going away. It's not a pleasurable conversation for, I think, many that would want it if you listen to me, which I haven't seen much. But when we move into the election seasons, that's what I would try to find myself, is someone that's aligning with that, the reality of what's happening, this consumerism and everything, and like everything you pick up, it's made in China or something. Almost everything in the United States now is made in another country. Some of it's still made here, and to me it's not the answer to start making everything again here. It's just we let this happen to our own people through the way of life we've lived. So I see that for what it is. I watched a little thing recently about consciousness and stuff. And there's different levels of it, whether you're intoxicated, you're sober, you're influenced by this or that, right? But I've mentioned before as well is the conscience. If you do not have your conscience, conscience, with your consciousness, then your decisions probably won't be as productive for the future as they could be. I mean, that is what we should be using the most. It's not real difficult to me, but it is imperative, I think, to mention it. And then I'm glad they talk about it. I'm glad that somebody brings up the idea of time and relativity and is now happening. I like those things, too. But back for the election and stuff and what has happened in the past for us. As we move forward, try not to be distracted as often, and we have to find a way for ourselves, if we are a poor people like pretty much I am. I've mentioned before, I live in a poor neighborhood, whether it's this or that done, whether I've been threatened or chased by a dog, or, it's just, and we're all in this together too, and for sometimes it's really easy to use us as, we're not as well protected as some people, or maybe it's not protected, but it seems on the poorer level we are easily distracted at times through one thing or another because we're struggling just to make it. And trying to find somebody that you would like to vote for, or even hopes of believing in a system that votes. So as you maybe try to do that, try to find within yourselves, within your community. I don't think it's going to be real easy, but whoever you think and you speak to on a regular basis, they have a way of processing information where it's non-biased, and they are very neutral quite often, and maybe, I don't know if you employ them but this goes back to some of the things that I talk about, like needing one another and finding that within ourselves. And so many of us that are we really want a better tomorrow. We're rooting for it, and I think that's going to be a big thing when you start thinking about this and try to do a little research. I would think, man, to be a politician and stuff, I don't know. I could probably never do it because I'm not gonna. I don't know. But those people are put there in order to try and convey messages from the people of their area. So when we go to smaller government, that's probably one of our best angles to start from, which I'm not perfect at. I'm not really good at it all the time, but I do know who my mayor is, and I do know senators, the names, I don't know them, but, and congressmen, I do know those names. Because it starts small and then it goes to the bigger level, but a lot of those people, that's a thankless job, and if you find somebody and they know and they're not afraid to it's not thankless, but I don't know. I try not to pick on too much of it, because I don't know what it would be like to be in that position, and sometimes some of them must be misled at one time or another, but when we stop trying to pull one side so hard and then pull back the other side, and all of us that are in the middle of all of this start seeing stuff for what it is. You're not going to bring the war up and dissuade me, and you're not going to bring this other conflict up. I am going to hope that you guys are trying to make the best decisions. Those are other conversations to be had, but at the moment we're going to be, and when we elect people, I know those people help make those decisions, so that'll be imperative as well. But we, for us, like where we live and stuff, to see how many times we've been fooled on small levels, because we're easily dissuaded, and how much are you willing to sacrifice for the future, is important to me. And it's not just like I'm going to sacrifice all my money and all this, but there is a degree of that I think that's going to have to come to pass. I hear them talk about reproductive rates, fertility rates are on the drop and stuff, and that the planet isn't populating at the rate, or down here in the Southwest, the way they just keep building, man, with the drought, and we want to talk about those things and solutions and not be afraid and stop putting the money in front. Somebody that steps up and sees it for what it is. I don't exactly know what you do to help but we as a people start looking at that more and more, and the idea that if a city went bankrupt or something, so what? What would happen? Really, what do you think would happen? Would the city just close down? There'd be no city hall? You went bankrupt. Well, if we would have sold off a bunch of land that wasn't going to be able to be provided with water possibly in the future, I think I made the right choice by letting us go the other direction. If you choose to find us to be a bankrupt city or an area, that's fine. But I know that my people aren't going to go without water. I would think it would be really hard to believe that. What are you just going to abandon everyone? I haven't researched what happened in Detroit years ago, but is that really what happens? You just abandon your people. There's no police. There's no infrastructure, and to find a leader that would see this ahead, it's hard to see everything. But sometimes some of us have tried, but we're kept quiet because I think some of the upper people. I guess somewhere along the line, the message, I guess, is better provided from them than from some of us. Maybe like the Claudette Colvin that recently came out, right? If it's a true story, she's actually the original 15-year-old Rosa Parks. And Rosa Parks was then put in place of her because of political views and how it will be seen through the public eye. And I'm glad to hear maybe at that point that the people of color at that time in the 60s, were seeing life as a competition, man. If we want to be accepted in society, we got to learn to play by the rules of this government and stuff, and how the message is brought to the people. It's really weird. I wonder how, if you haven't heard about that, look it up. The Rosa Parks story, recently I seen it. I would say about some of the news I get, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that was something that conveyed recently, related through the social media that I seen on my end. That's interesting. I didn't look up the Rudy story recently, but I guess that flashed on my phone one day too. It's weird how some of this stuff comes up because I don't like. I've never looked at Notre Dame or Rudy or this or that, and up pops Rudy. Actually, the story's not all it was told to be. I don't know about that part, but I like the stories that are, no matter what, man, the truth comes out in the end. It's beautiful. The Rosa Parks Claudette thing, fine, man. I seen what you people were up against, as the people of color and stuff, and trying to get your, your citizenship and be recognized, for crying out loud. Just wild. But yeah, moving into that, and then Halloween's coming. I'm going to move out of that, but I just wanted to give some words of encouragement. And I don't exactly know how we find, but don't be so misled, man, by these big ads and all this stuff, and some guy, it's like, it really shouldn't be such a fight. The politician that stands up there and says this, and it's not about bad-mouthing the other guy. And I guess eventually, I've seen it a couple times, you can't help but say something back once in a while. Fine. Don't let us all be caught up in it, though, every day. Find a little time and then let it go, man, because you got to keep your eyes open to what's happening right in front of you on your own doorsteps and around the corner, and feel comfortable sharing it all and knowing at the end of the day, man, we're going to share the same taxes and the same rules and the same laws, and we're in the same neighborhood, and there's no contest against. There is no elephant against a donkey, red against the blue, and then the other guys that don't matter, which is really weird to me. But that there is no contest. There is no fight, and no one wins. Because as a society, we're losing, as the numbers keep showing us. It's not just climate change, it's a way that we live life. But Halloween's coming, man. Let's jump off that. And I got that new Thanksgiving song, and I like it, man. I don't care, but it's raw, it's hard, it's to the point, and it ends strong. And I revamped it, moved some verse around. But as Halloween comes, man, what a cool season. The pumpkins and the trick or treating. It's cool, Dress up as anything you want to be. I think it's a really cool holiday. You know, that they can trace it back over to Ireland, I think, in its earliest days, and that's where the gourds, they used to do the gourds, little gourds. You know, you've seen them like with the like crazy like necks on them and stuff, but there's gourds over there. Pumpkins are from the North America, so it went to the next level when they arrived here. They're like, "Whoa, dude! Wow! Wait till you see me carve a face in this thing," you know. But you know, it had something. Look it up. Take a moment and enjoy that part. But I believe it starts over there somewhere, in its infancy, as like not. Maybe it was a holiday, but it's pretty interesting. I really dig it. I dig fall, the harvest season, and trying not to get caught up in so much of the this and that and that and this and this guy's that. You know, it's really bizarre to me. I've said it before too. So the how easily misled we can be at times, and try not to let it happen as easily as it can, and get so emotionally involved like we're at a football game or something. You know. Digging the fall here, you know, and peace.